Shalom Yehudah Glick.
Shalom, and shalom to all those who are supporters and are viewers of Arutz Sheva.
So first of all, how are you feeling these days?
I feel like a very lucky person who received his life from the Almighty as a present. I was a person who was, by all rational explanations and expectations, was already in the other side of this world. And here I am, back, standing on both my feet, thanks to prayers from all over the world, and thanks to miracles of God.
Are you aware of what happened during the days when you were in coma, the prayers, the concern?
Of course, while it was happening, I was not aware. I was in coma, I was put to sleep, I was connected to different machinery, but slowly, step by step, after I woke up, and after I investigated everybody who came to visit me, I more and more understand that the entire world, Jewish world, and many Christians from around the world were praying, and I can say for sure, not a single one of those prayers was in vain, and God took every one of them and understood that, and He gave me my life back as a present.
Now, tell me, at the moment when it happened, was there any time when you understood that, hey, it's happening? All the threats, all the things we saw posted on Facebook against you, it's actually happening.
It was not even a moment. I had a tenth of a second just to think what was going on. I heard clearly that he said, I shot you, I'm shooting you because you are an enemy of Al-Aqsa, and I understood directly that it was because of my activity on Temple Mount, but I didn't have enough time to give too much thought to that. After I woke up and I read the headlines of the press from the days it happened, using the word assassination, I realized that this is something, not just a plain terror act, but this was an attempt to assassinate me just because of my legal, legitimate activity for human rights, my legal, legitimate activity for freedom to pray in the place which is the holiest place in the world, for billions of people who are faithful and believe in the Bible. And this is what came from the side that does not understand what tolerance is, does not understand what respect to others is.
And what's next in terms of your activity?
God gave me my life back as a present. I don't know why. I'm not a spokesman of God, but I know that if He left me here in this world, He wants me to continue with my mission. And the mission that I really, truly, sincerely believe that God genuinely wants me to do is to do what I've been doing until now, calling upon all of those who are faithful in the Bible, come to the Temple Mount. Come to the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount must be, as the words of Isaiah, house of prayer for all nations. It mustn't be in the hands of violent people. It must not be left to one religion who are led by fundamentalistic, violent leadership. It must be a sensitive place, meaning it must be a place where respects all of those who are calling in the name of the one and only God.
Now, despite the fact that this incident wasn't really in reaction to a specific act, some sort of provocation, specific act regarding the Temple Mount, we heard people saying that this is all because of the ascent to the Temple Mount, and more than that, the terror attacks that we saw the days after. We heard leaders and even rabbis saying it's because of the ascent to the Temple Mount.
I totally dismiss any kind of connection between our activity and violence. Anybody who is violent always blames. I'm not an angry person. He aggravated me. I only beat up my wife when she deserves it. I don't, the rapist always says it's the woman to blame. We have to know and say this loud and clear. There is no justification whatsoever for any kind of violence, definitely for any kind of terror. The terror in Israel has been here ever since the establishment of the State of Israel. I don't think that after 6,000 soldiers were killed in the War of Independence Ben Gurion would have thought to close down the state of Israel, he understood that unfortunately we paid a very expensive price, but we are doing what is right, what is morally right, the establishment of the state of Israel. The same situation is here when we're talking about Jerusalem, when we're talking about the Temple Mount. We are right when we demand freedom to pray for all on the Temple Mount. We are morally right when we demand from the police of Israel to keep away any person, Jew, Christian, or Muslim, but unfortunately it's mainly the Muslims, to keep away anybody who's violent on Temple Mount, whether his violence is verbal or physical. Anybody who does not know how to respect the Temple Mount should not be there. And that's what we are called to the police of Israel. Keep away from Temple Mount any kind of violent people including religious leaders, Muslim leaders, who are inciting hate, terror, and any kind of violence.
Now, in terms of the opinions, the halachic opinions regarding ascent to the Temple Mount, we know that there are opinions for and against, but we see lots of support, especially because you talk a lot about the human rights and the sovereignty on the Temple Mount.
There are many topics in Judaism that there are different opinions, and I respect people who have other opinions than I do. I'm very happy that in the past few years, more and more rabbis understand the importance of going up to the Temple Mount. Just in the last 2 months, there are 3 major rabbis who called for Jews to go to the Temple Mount, who in the past didn't. I'm talking about Rabbi Yakim Levanon, Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, and Rabbi Benny Lau. But I'm saying there are more and more rabbis who support it. But one thing is for sure, even rabbis who do not support ascending Temple Mount understand that Israel cannot give up the sovereignty of the Temple Mount and cannot, by no means, have the Muslims have any right to attack Jews going to the Temple Mount, have any right to attempt to assassinate somebody who calls for Jews to go to the Temple Mount. The Muslims have no right to be violent, to use terror, and not even to use the excuse of Jews going up to the Temple Mount as an excuse to justify terror.
Now we're entering Hanukkah, the Festival of Miracles. This must have much significance for you this year.
Yes, I definitely saw personal miracles in the last month and a half, from the moment I was shot, through my very speedy recovery, through my rehabilitation process, which I'm going through right now, which is going very rapidly. So I thank God every single day in the miracles, and especially on Hanukkah is the holiday where we say, thank God for miracles. But I do remember that Hanukkah was not only a celebration of personal miracles. It's a celebration of national miracles. And the national miracles speaks about the light coming in the darkest time of the year. We're in December, where the days are short and the night is long. And we're talking about days when there's no moon, but we have the light. The light going out which we light on our window and our door, bringing the light of the Jewish people to the entire world. And the origin of that light is the menorah in the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount. And the light of the world is Jerusalem. And this light is our message to the world. And this light means Temple Mount, as a house of prayer for all nations, calling in the name of the one and only God, will bring light to all darkness in the world, whether it's in Sydney, whether it's in Morocco, whether it's in Indonesia. The light coming from Jerusalem, the light coming from the Temple Mount, can bring light to the entire world.
Yehudah Glick, thank you very much. Feel better. Refuah shlema and Hanukkah Sameach.
Hanukkah Sameach to everybody, and let's all hope that we see days of light and peace in the entire world.